You're listening to the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett. I'm guessing you're having a good day because either you've been on the mat, are considering getting on the mats, or maybe taking your competitive self to train. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you want to compete at an international level, start training Jiu Jitsu. I'd like to welcome Olivia Marlow and her mum, Kayley, to my podcast. Hello, both of you.
Hey.
Hiya.
Lovely to have you here. And I'm really pleased that we're able to speak on this podcast, Olivia, having met you at Enyo6 last week.
Yeah.
Tell me about that experience. I mean, not about meeting me, about taking part in Enyo6.
Yeah, it was really nice to go back because obviously I was on Enyo3. Yeah, like I just love going to like comps where there's loads of like women because it's just such a nice like environment to be in, especially for obviously a young competitive woman. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and obviously it didn't go my way, but it was nice like meeting a new opponent, and obviously, yeah, it was good.
Thank you for that. I also echo the being in the female space and being supported, and it's just an amazing atmosphere. I wasn't expecting it. You know, you're all kind of fighting, but actually there's so much support and encouragement and building each other up. And that for me, as an adult, you know, recently started training jiu-jitsu, it's just such a great place to be as a female. So, Olivia, tell me about where you started training, or what the kind of intent was, and how long you've been training for.
Okay, so I started training at Empire Jiu Jitsu, which was Empire, but now it's Gracie Barra. But I started training in 2017, so 7 years now. So I started training when I was 8.
Wow.
And I just sort of like, I think I just went to like a session one day because my dad started doing it. So I thought, okay, I might as well just go on the mat. And then ever since, I've just been doing it like consistently. And then about, I think it was like 2 months in, I did my first comp. I got bronze. Yeah. And then my second comp, I got gold. So that's really like, that's what made me want to compete even more. And then it's just been going off from then, like just competing like as much as I can.
That's fantastic. I know, you know, if any of you listening haven't attempted a competition, you know, it's one of those things that I have been told it's a good thing to go and try out. Some of us like it, some of us love it, some of us it's not for us. But Olivia, it sounds like it's absolutely for you.
Yeah, I love it. It's just amazing. Like win, lose or draw. Well, obviously you can't draw, but yeah, win, lose, it's just like, it's a really good like atmosphere, especially like I said, Enyo. But yeah, especially when you win, like it's just amazing. Like you can't even describe it.
Oh, that's so good. And Kayley, mum, Olivia's mum, how do you feel when Olivia competes?
Gosh. Well, I feel probably worse than Olivia does when she's competing, to be honest, because it's completely out of your control, isn't it? You know, you're there either watching at the actual competition or like with Enyo pay-per-view at home. And, you know, like any mum, you just want, you know, your child to do well. So, yeah, I'm pleased when it's done with, let's put it that way. You know, I'm not obviously fearful of like injuries and stuff that much because she's been doing it for such a long time. She, you know, she understands when to tap if she needs to and stuff like that. So that doesn't really bother me. It's just, I think, you know, if you've trained so hard for a competition, it doesn't go your way for whatever reason. It's just a bit, you know, gutting afterwards, isn't it? So it's just about building yourself back up if you don't get that win, I think, and moving on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I echo as a parent, you know, I've seen one of my children compete and, you know, the match was over really quickly. And it's just heartbreaking to see their emotions, you know, certainly their first competition maybe. And it just is kind of that build up, isn't it? And then, you know, you kind of want to do your best as a parent to support them and nurture them so much. But, you know, there's a time and a place where they can stand on their own feet as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, so you've been training 7 years, Olivia. Thank you, Kayley. I know you weren't necessarily expecting to speak on this episode, but I really appreciate you supporting Olivia in all the ways you do. So, Olivia, you've been training for 7 years. Now, tell me how many
Yeah.
competitions you've actually taken part in.
I don't know. I couldn't really count them. I probably would have to like count all my medals, but I'd say like definitely over 20. But probably, yeah, probably like 40 or something. Yeah. It's really hard though for like young girls especially because there's just not enough like competing girls out there. So you hardly ever get matches. So it's like you have to go up weights and like ages,
Yeah.
which is not good at all. Like I remember my like biggest weight I've gone up to is like was like 75s and I was like 53. So it was
Yeah.
massive. I ended up like just coming short off the win because I just couldn't like deal with it. But obviously I go up to absolutes, but it's just different. Like 'cause obviously
Yeah.
I'm paying for the category and then it's like I want a fair match sort of thing. But yeah, it's really hard to get matches. I think a lot of like young women and even women would tell you that as well because like I said, there's just not many.
I agree. I mean, this is one of the reasons for me starting this podcast to encourage more women and girls to
Yeah.
start training jiu-jitsu. You know, when you want to compete, you know, we're so competitive, you know, at school or other clubs. And, you know, actually you want to feel that level of success and drive forwards. And competitions is one of those measures. And it takes a lot of bravery to put yourself in for competitions.
Yeah.
You know, I've now got a couple of refunds because I haven't had a competitor. So I'm hoping this year to actually get a match. But we will see. I'm very mindful of, you know, going down categories. Mum, you'll relate to this. I'm a Masters 4 in the super heavy at the moment. I'm not going to get any younger. I might get slightly less weight, but you know, the kind of further up. And I know, you know, many women and girls in the US, there seem to be, the perception is that there are so many more competitors. Now, I know that you have a goal, an aspiration to compete internationally. Tell me where
Yeah.
that's coming from, Olivia.
So last November, I went to the AJP like Worlds, like Youth Worlds in Abu Dhabi. I got the silver, so I just lost the final. So I had like 3 matches. So that was like yellow belt. So obviously, like it's a lot different now. I'm at blue belt, so I want it like counts more if I win. So it started from this. That was my first like international like comp. So it was like a big thing for me. So and then I did the Europeans in was it
Paris in January.
in January.
Yeah.
I got silver then, so I lost the final. But yeah, I just want to like get noticed, I think. And also I get so many matches from competing abroad. So I'd have like a 10 like person category and it's just like
Yeah.
wow, that's unheard of for me. So yeah, I'm gonna do the Worlds, the IBJJF Worlds in May. So that's
Fantastic.
my next biggest like comp to do.
And where is that? Where is the world's? Apologies,
It's
I'm quite new, ish. But tell me where you're heading off to.
yeah, so that's in California.
Okay,
So
that's a
I'm
big
gonna
one.
go out there. Yeah, I'm gonna go out there a week early to train at AOJ with the Mendez Bros. I think that's the
Yeah.
plan. So me and my professor are gonna go down and then
Nice.
hopefully get the win at Blue Belt. But yeah, and it's also my birthday when I'm there,
Yay.
so that's
Oh,
gonna be a nice
amazing.
birthday for me. Yeah, in the sun. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
Are you going along as well, Mum?
No, so I was going to go with Olivia, but because we're doing fundraising to help Olivia with her international comps,
Yeah.
obviously going to California just for flights alone is quite expensive. So because she's got a list of other comps internationally she wants to do after California, and her team are going to California and competing as well, we said that we'd let her go with her professor and her teammates on this occasion.
Yeah.
And then when she returns back from there, I'll be joining her. So she'll be going back and doing, international comps that she's done last year. So she wants to return back to Abu Dhabi. So I'll go there with her again. And then she's got a few in between that we're just finalising. So it's just obviously, when you're competing internationally, it's not just a competition entry, it's the flights, the
Yeah.
accommodation, the spending, the training while you're there. It's quite a substantial amount of money you have to raise. to go quite far. But, you know, the comps that Olivia's picking, she's doing it to become ranked. And now she's a blue belt because she couldn't get ranked really with AJP. It's a lot better now she's blue.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds amazing. I only admire your tenacity and confidence and just your kind of, you know what you want and you're going for it. Do you know what? That as a young person is just incredible. You know, through education, some of the young people, and I remember myself not really quite knowing what I wanted to do, and then hoping that decisions would be made for me to go off and do certain things. But actually, when you're making the decision, like you're demonstrating, you're able to achieve and grow and continue to win in your category, which is just amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
So what advice would you give to people thinking about competing internationally? Because you started talking about the coaching and the kind of the fundraising kind of beforehand. What advice would you give to listeners for fundraising and the kind of preparation to comps?
I would just sort of like, I don't know. My mum normally does it for me, so
it's a bit of a joint
really
effort with the fundraising because I think it's a bit daunting for Liv because of her age. It's a bit, so obviously we write off to people together. We go and see local companies. We've been quite successful locally with small businesses, like in the village and things where we live, supporting Liv. You know, so that's quite good. So what we did initially when she went to Abu Dhabi was we had a tracksuit done with the company logos on it, which is her international tracksuit now. So whenever she travels, she'll always wear that to help obviously advertise the companies that have supported her. We set up a GoFundMe page as well, which is active, which is just basically rolling constantly for any donations that people want to give to help. So the money for when we went to Abu Dhabi in November last year, all of Olivia's money was basically if the fundraising was done, so we didn't have to pay for anything for Olivia to go there. She's also secured ambassadorships with companies and a sponsorship with Digitape, which she was really happy about. So Digitape came on board because Liv obviously with how Liv plays, that's what she uses a lot. You know, she's always wearing Digitape when she's training. So they pay for her competition entry for certain competitions. So, you know, every little bit really towards a competition that people can do helps us because Olivia's training constantly, you know, as well as obviously her normal training that she does her strength and conditioning. She's helping obviously teach other children. So it's a constant thing really. So I think it's just nice for me and Olivia's dad in the background just to help with the fundraising, to take that pressure off a little bit.
No, that's fantastic. I think it's really, you know, things don't come for free, and it's about working hard and, you know, putting connections out there and just asking. You know, I remember, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get. But actually, if you don't approach and feel like you're comfortable enough to secure some funding, well, if you don't ask, then, you know, you're leaving all of that possible support out of your kind of remit to progress and grow. And I think we all have to be responsible, you know, not just Olivia, but you as a whole family supporting, which I think is just fantastic. This is the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. Go and check out the latest video clips of the show over on Instagram at jiu.jitsu.lou. And as you're listening or watching on your favourite podcast platform, I'd appreciate you dropping the show a 5-star rating. Today, I'm having a conversation with Olivia Marlow and her mum, Kayley. So, Olivia, you've been training for 7 years. Tell me about the progress you've made and the moves that your kind of superhero moves.
Yeah, so I've made a lot of progress, I think, like within like 2 years now, because I've been like moving like clubs just due to, you know, I wanted to get better and, you know, closest to home. And I feel like I've learned a lot from all of my like coaches and everything. So that's really helped. And yeah, I mean, I just love like playing on my back. So that's like the main thing for me.
Okay.
Obviously now I'm trying to like expand my game a bit more, and that's what my professor's helping me with now, like my new professor, because I've just moved clubs, and he's helping me like with my top game now, because it was like a little bit like, not so good before, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
I get it. I'm a white belt, and my game is still very much on the bottom in defense. It's tight, elbows tight, hands, everything. But I like to hear about your kind of top game and what you're kind of learning and getting out of that. Just so selfishly, I can start learning a top game.
Yeah. So obviously I'm not heavy, so it's kind of hard to put the pressure on, because obviously my categories are like small, like girls, so obviously like 55. So like it's mainly us. We both like just pull guard. Have you seen at the weekend like at Enyo? We just double guard pulled, and that's mainly like all my comps. But then I went to Europeans and I pulled guard, and this girl just like pressure passed me, and I was like, what just happened? Because I just imagined like them not to do that. So
Yeah.
my game was like a little bit not as good there, but now I've like learned from that.
Yeah.
I've started not pulling guard as much in training. Obviously, I will still do it in comp, because obviously that's my A game.
Yeah.
So I've been like just trying to pass like really good people's like guards. So like the people who use like lapels and everything at my club, like really good guard games, and just
Yeah.
trying to pass them. And if I can, then like, it just gives me more confidence to like not pull guard. And then if I'm like sweeping, then it just gives me more confidence to get up, and
Yeah.
just like pass guard from there, because I've struggled with that in the past, like not being able to pass and then getting stuck,
Yeah.
and then triangled or whatever. Yeah.
I also struggle, and maybe some of my listeners, struggle with kind of, the bottom game or getting stuck in a certain position. And then you go, how do you work through that? But, like I was chatting with Sam from Warrior Grips last time, you kind of learn, give yourself a hard time on the way home, go and YouTube it, go and have a chat with your coach, and then go back and bait that move to just improve and keep going better. What are your techniques for improving your game as well as your kind of coach support?
I mean, I'm not really sure. Like, I just like obviously, like I've said before, I'm small, so it's hard to like do a lot of stuff in class, because
Yeah.
there's mainly men and they're quite big. Like, not obviously, they're just like bigger than me, like taller and everything. It's just
Yeah.
hard to get past like long legs and all this. So I think it's just kind of like adapting to that,
Yeah.
like definitely adapting to the strengths as well. Because if I go to comp and I've been training with like say 80 kg man
Yeah.
who's like working bottom game, like really strong with the grips, then when I go to comp it'll be easier, because obviously they're not 80 kg and they're not as strong like most of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely just adapting to like training partners.
So what I'm hearing is it's good to train and kind of practice with kind of people that are higher up your rank level, maybe, heavier, just different body types and all sorts. I also
Definitely.
struggle with anyone with long legs. I have a long body and short legs, and keeping guard is my challenge, but I'm working on the sweeps and takedowns.
Yeah.
So you're mostly a guard player, but
Yeah.
do you have any great takedowns that you might use?
No, I don't take down like at all. I hate it with a passion. Like it's just I've never done it. Like now saying that, I've been trying to do it in training, like I said, at comp classes, I've been just like drilling and drilling, like
Yeah.
single legs, like just sequences that will
Yeah.
help me. Because obviously when you're taking down, you normally end up in guard, like most of the time, or if you're lucky,
Yeah.
then you'll end up like inside show or whatever. But and then that adds on to the guard passing, like I said, like I need to work
Yeah.
on. So yeah, I've been
Yeah.
trying, but it's just I'm not confident with it at all. Like I can do like the hip throws and stuff, but not
Yeah.
inspiring. Yeah.
It's good. I mean, we've all got areas to kind of work on, and I think working on one thing at a time is just great.
Yeah.
So, your next competition, is that the Worlds? Is that kind of the next
No,
one in the?
No, so that's the next international like big comp. So that's May. But I'm gonna do like loads of little ones before, just to get me ready, like to like work on my game plan and stuff. That's definitely a good idea to do. But like I said, it's hard to get matches, so I have to
Yeah.
literally message everyone. Like I get quite a lot of messages just asking like whether I'm going to enter and everything, but then I'm like, no, it's too far, or there's only one person. I'm not going to Scotland for one person or whatever. Like I would, but it's just the expenses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing a lot of little ones. Like I'm trying to do like all the grappling industries because they can like move me up to adult. Because most comps don't move me up because I'm 15 and you have to be either 16 or 18. So it's a bit of a tough situation at the minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And what has been the best kind of feeling, the best success of your 7-year career so far? What's been the best moment?
I think probably Abu Dhabi. Yeah, because I went in thinking I wasn't going to win because I had done like hardly any training before because I think I had an injury. So I went in like, and obviously we couldn't really cancel all the flights because of the expense and like we'd already booked all of it. So I went in and I won my first match and I was like proper proud of myself. And then I won my second match and I was really proud. But then on the final, I remember the ref like called this submission that wasn't
you
even
were safeguarding, you weren't it? Sub wasn't even on there. You stopped it, which was really annoying actually, because you was just countering it at the time, and then you stopped the match.
I was winning, but then I didn't get caught, but the ref saw it as that. So, but I was still really happy with my performance, and obviously being in Abu Dhabi, it was just amazing because the actual country is just like really nice to just go and just relax. Like we had a few days like before where we just relaxed, like just on the beach, and then we was with like a friend, so that I trained with. So that was even better. And then he competed, so I was coaching him, and we just got to like, and obviously there was loads of famous people there, so we just got to meet everyone. So it was really nice.
That's so good. Yeah. And have you made lots of international connections from going to these competitions?
Yeah, definitely. Like all my opponents and stuff, we all have each other on Instagram, you know, and I'm always like competing against them now because like they live in America and like other places. So when I go to Worlds, I'm probably gonna have all of them in my category, which is nice because obviously we're all friendly. Like there's no tension between us because we've competed against each other. Like it's all like friends, you know. But yeah, definitely like built loads of friendships and stuff, and obviously like all my followers and stuff, we see them at comps. Like obviously we saw you at Enyo, so I see them at comps, and it's just nice to like see people in person.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is just a nice feeling, isn't it, when you kind of are somewhere not at home and you recognize people and they recognize you, and it's just the world is a small place, but it's a big place too.
Yeah, exactly.
Mum, what recommendations would you have for parents supporting their young or maybe not so young children in competition?
I think you've got to obviously look at the build up before the competition, not just obviously while you're at the competition. So making sure they've got enough training. Like Olivia does sort of 4 classes a week at her new club, as well as 3 classes strength and conditioning, plus additional she does the teaching. So you know, a lot of Olivia's spare time is given up dedicated to the sport. So I think you've got to be committed and have the drive to do that. You know, going once or twice a week half-heartedly just isn't sort of going to cut it. You've got to put the time in. Clean eating, Olivia does a lot of clean eating, you know, any sort of vitamins that need to be took, anything like that for general health, really. Making sure that obviously she's happy, you know, mental health is good. With a lot of training, it takes a lot of, you know, every now and again, like Liv's has just had a bit of a break. You need to have a bit of time away from it. And now this will do her good. So she had a break just after Enyo. She just enjoyed some time off, you know, actually had a Chinese one night, which she wouldn't usually have, and bits and things like that. So she's due to go back training on Monday, but the rest will do her good because then when she goes back Monday, she'll be on it again. You know, she'll have the fire again to go and do it, ready for these sort of comps. So I think it's having a bit of a balanced lifestyle with it. You know, you're not always going to get the outcome you want out of these competitions. So it's just being there for your children afterwards and saying, you know, maybe it didn't go the way you wanted to, but on a plus, you know, you've come this far, you're in this other country, you're experiencing obviously the culture. And, you know, not a lot of 15-year-olds could say, I mean, I couldn't say when I was 15 that I was given the opportunity to travel. And whilst traveling, obviously do something that she's enjoying. You know, like when we went to Abu Dhabi, we dressed up. it was so hot, and we went into like the mosque and had a look
Just
around,
cultures, like,
and wore the traditional dress, and then obviously eating the food, and went on a private beach. And you know, for me with Liv as a mum, like the bonding time that gave
Yeah.
us, because Olivia is one of you know, she's got quite a few brothers and sisters.
as you can see.
Keep popping in the feed. So just for me and her to just go away and do just some things that you just wouldn't usually do if you're back in
Yeah.
the UK. And
Yeah.
I also think, you know, she's putting that amount of time into it. I want to be able to take her to these countries, because in a way it's a bit of like a reward to say,
Yeah.
you know, you've done so well and you're so dedicated, let's travel the world and do it.
It's amazing. I only, you know, strive to be able to take my children, you know, should they want to continue competing. But what an amazing kind of community to take and kind of connect with around the world. You know, you often go on, you know, holidays or whatever, and you're isolated as a family, and you know, whilst you're kind of connecting with other people, competing in jiu-jitsu just gives you a massive international community, and I can completely see the benefit of being involved with all of that.
Yeah, it's like a big family.
It's really safe. You know, even like when we went to Abu Dhabi, the arena was like, it was amazing. It's nothing you've ever seen in the UK. Like, there's no expense spared. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And, you know, and everyone's total strangers just speaking to you. And, you know, with other sports, you wouldn't really get that, I don't think.
And I think the other weekend, like before Enyo, I did a grappling industries, and I went up to adults, so I was fighting women for the first time. And I remember I was on this knee bar, I think, or a toe hold, I don't know. It was like black belt rule set. And this guy was like just coaching me, and I was just looking up at him, and I'm like, who even are you? You know what I mean? And then after he came over and he was like, oh my God, like, you did really good. And I was like, okay, thank you for like the tips and everything, because it actually did help.
Yeah.
And that's really nice, because you just have like random people coming up to you like, you know, well done, or, you know, how did you do this? How did you do that? Or giving you pointers or whatever. So it's really nice. And yeah, it's supportive. Yeah.
It's fantastic. I've got chills, because it's so nice to hear positive stories out the back of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and the community, and now even more so the international community, which is just amazing. Thank you for that, Kayley. Olivia, do you have any recommendations for any young women wanting to compete at an international level? From your perspective, what would you say to them?
I'd just say, like, be consistent, because, you know, consistency is key. Like, quality over quantity. Like, just train as much as you can, like, and just stick at it. And even if you don't have a match, like a comps, just look at other comps. Like, there's loads of comps. Even if you have to travel, like, it's worth it. And just get the mat time. And also, I'd say a massive thing is to cross train. Like, definitely go to like different women's open mats. You know, Enyo do a lot of open mats. Like, I've been to quite a few. There's loads of women, you know, it's really nice, because there's loads of small women, you know, we're all like different shapes, sizes. So it's really good to like spar with different bodies like all the time. Fantastic. But yeah, I'd just say, just compete. Like, even if you feel like you're not ready, just do it, because then you can just get ready for the next one.
Fantastic. I love it. And Olivia, if everything else kind of goes aside, obviously you're still in education, but what one thing do you want to achieve this year?
This year, definitely getting that world champion. Like, I definitely want to win it, the world. So yeah, that's my goal. Just winning that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's about it.
I'm so grateful to have you on. How can people get hold of you, Olivia, or follow your journey at least and support you?
I have Instagram. That's like basically the only thing that I'm on. So just, follow my Instagram. You know, you can always message me or whatever. You know, it'd be really nice. Just
fabulous.
More people.
I will add your Instagram handle in the show notes. And you mentioned, Mum, that there's also a GoFundMe. If you let me have that, I can also pop those in the show notes as well. Because we want to see Olivia continue to succeed. And you're really only at the very start of your journey. I know you're 7 years in, but as a 15-year-old, you are just doing an incredible job setting the tone for future women or future girls in the sport, in the martial art. And I think that's one of the most important things. Cool. Well, thank you very much. And I will continue to follow your journey and hopefully see you at an open mat or a competition around the world at some point soon.
Definitely. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you for telling your friends about this show. And as soon as this episode ends, I'd love you to rate and review the show. Thanks again for listening, and catch you on the next episode of the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast.